Hi, this is Paul Sackett, Good News Planet. I'm speaking to Andrea Hoffman. Hi, Andrea. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Great. Well, we spoke last year, the founder and CEO of Diversity Affluence, and you're having now your third annual Diversity Affluence Awards and Brunch in the Hamptons at the B. Smith's Place on August 19th. Congratulations. This is
Thank
a big
you so
deal.
much. We are, we are excited that we're celebrating 3 years. I think in today's world, that's like dog years. So we're happy.
Okay. Well, the diversity market, our audience knows that our company has been involved with that for 27 years. We were on the B. Smith was on the cover one time many years ago for her diversity outreach, and we were included in some research in her article. She's a real trooper in the world of diversity, isn't she?
She is. I think she, redefined it. Actually, they call her today the, Black Martha Stewart, which, she was probably around before Martha Stewart was Martha Stewart. So she absolutely is a pillar in the community around diversity.
Fantastic. So tell us what's going to happen.
Well, as you know, it's a pretty simple format. It's a 3-hour, very casual event in the Hamptons, as the Hamptons is, and it's from 11 to 2. We start out with just some networking and some media coverage by the media wall, and then we sit down for a brunch, and it will be hosted this year by A.J. Calloway, who is a New York correspondent for Extra TV. And he used to be on 106 and Park on BET. And he will welcome everybody. One of our sponsors from J.P. Morgan Chase will welcome everybody. And we say a couple of words about our 3 honorees. We eat lunch, and then we bring up somebody from Belvedere who will lead us in a toast celebrating the honorees. And we bring our host back up and then honor each individual who has done some amazing things and continues to do amazing things.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the honorees.
Well, we have Donna Bird, who is the publisher of The Root, which is owned by the Washington Post. We have Lawrence Boschetto, who is the president and CEO of Draft FCB, which is a global marketing communications company with over 100 offices around the globe. So that's a pretty big deal. And then, of course, we have Mark Morial, who is the CEO of the National Urban League and the former mayor of New Orleans, a very accomplished former mayor of New Orleans. So 3, we honor leaders, achievers, and pioneers of diversity, where people have progressed the diversity agenda in the American culture. And I think all 3 have done that quite well.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're an author as well, aren't you?
I am an author. I wrote a book. I co-authored a book called Black is the New Green, Marketing to Affluent African Americans.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. It came out about 2 years ago. It was published by Palgrave Macmillan, so a very accomplished publishing house. It's done quite well, and my co-author and I go on a lot of speaking engagements and speak at colleges and universities and corporations, and really just enlighten people on a demographic that has over $87 billion in purchasing power, a group that we refer to as AAAs, affluent African Americans.
Aha. And tell us why you're involved with this kind of world.
Well, it was about 15 years ago, and I was working at an agency. I was working on a luxury auto account at the time, and I was charged with, the agency I was working for was charged with sort of helping the brand reinvent themselves and market to a new audience without losing the heritage of their brand. And so we were evaluating a $45 million presence marketing budget. We had to take research and analyze and synthesize it into our strategy. And it was at that point where it really struck me that target marketing was critical to the success and sustainability of brands today. And I think that that's a strategy that can be sustainable in and of itself for any brand in the future, in the past. And so because of my background and my circle of friends, I just had a natural aptitude for understanding different markets. Being a very competitive marketer, seeing that the competition wasn't doing this was just added fuel to wanting to be more aggressive for my client. And so fast forward 15 years later, I have just become a subject matter expert, and obviously people follow what I call their true north, and so my natural aptitudes have just led me to where I am today.
Aha, great. Who are the Royaltons?
The Royaltons are what other people may call minorities, which I'm sure, as you know, that term is outdated in and of itself. But a Royalton defines an affluent ethnic consumer across ethnicity. I felt when I started Diversity Affluence, it's going on 6 years. November will be 6 years. I realized the term minority really just perpetuated stereotypes, and that in order really to speak to marketers and have our work resonate with them, we needed to use a different term. And I was projecting into the future that the term minority would just go away anyway. And so a Royalton defines an affluent ethnic consumer across ethnicity, and that even includes the LGBT audience as well.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a wise way. The word minorities, I think, really evolved almost out of governmental census research to a certain degree, and put a semi-stigma almost on human beings.
It does. What my friend called earthlings, and I think that it's limiting. The term minority is limiting, and certainly the numbers don't reflect minority at all. So we're excited to have coined the term Royaltons and use it and hopefully spread the good word to others.
And I think important in the world of marketing to I call the multicultural communities. It's really about marketing in many. It's getting a message to a community who feels an affinity for the media or the event or whatever it is that they go to, and they see about your sponsors, Chase or who else here? The watch company, Baum and Mercier. Supporting the culture, I think, is what it's about to a degree.
So let me reframe that just a little bit and see if this resonates with your listeners and with you. A couple of things. Just fast forward. We are excited to have returning with us our partners from last year, which include Belvedere, Baum and Mercier, J.P. Morgan Chase, and Draft FCB. But in terms of reframing the audience, I think that everything starts with an accurate perspective. If you want to achieve any sort of success in life, personally or professionally, I think you have a healthy, accurate perspective on things is a good start, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this audience of AAAs, or affluent ethnic consumers, there are two different audiences. AAAs is an affluent African American, or Royaltons defines an affluent ethnic consumer across ethnicity. And so when I started Diversity Affluence, there wasn't a lot of research. And as I was trying to put together some secondary research to find out where there were gaps in the insight that we can then do some proprietary research, I'd come to learn that one of the reasons that marketers really didn't understand that this audience existed in large numbers is because the research really wasn't there.
Right.
And we were living at a time where, you had a sort of a shotgun approach and, you went off in your marketing efforts and everybody was benefiting from all kinds of the smallest of efforts to the largest of efforts. And so I think an accurate perspective that the audience exists, they exist in large numbers, and they exist beyond what people may see on TV. And what we found out about Royaltons is that they are intentionally under the radar, as opposed to more conspicuous consumers such as celebrities and athletes and entertainers. But the doctors and lawyers and CEOs and decision makers and influencers that make up this Royaltons group are intentionally under the radar. And so you didn't have the research. They were under the radar. And perception that the most conspicuous consumers and celebrities and ball players and things like that just dovetailed into people's misperception that this audience existed. So I think if you start with the most accurate perspective and perception, then it's you can only have success from there.
I agree entirely with you, and I think I'll probably mention this also, because until we did a research study back in 1990 on the Asian Americans, and then 95 we did all the ethnic communities, we didn't have, it was very difficult to really show how and why to market to the community, and and it's grown much more as the populations have grown, and as you say, the affluence has grown and the buying power has grown, and wise marketers, are out there marketing to the community because the community is it's a family. There's cultural similarities we have found over the years.
Yeah. There are many similarities, and once people understand that, but then also understand some of the things that matter. If you're in any relationship, business or personal, what matters is a good place to start. What matters to that person, and so you can make some general assumptions about people, about business, about opportunity, about life, but until you find out what resonates with groups of people, I think that's where you can really start to understand how to connect with them.
Dale Carnegie said, what do they need?
Right. Know your audience. It's Sales 101. I think that when you look at the fact that our economy is made up, 70% of it is made up by consumer spending, and companies aren't marketing to consumers, you could call them, they're black, white, green, gay, straight, short. It doesn't matter. I think at the end of the day, the fact remains is that if 70% of our economy is made up by consumer spending, and marketers are not going after these new, untapped, or undertapped consumers, instead of me saying there's a problem, which I can easily say, I think there's an opportunity. And I have to say that companies really are starting to pay attention. They have to get other people in the company to pay attention, and then the other people to write the check, and then other people then to commit long-term to it. So it's a bigger process than just awareness and perspective. Then you have to actually start to pull the trigger. And, something else I find interesting is a client said to me not too long ago, I get it, I want to do it. Now I have a real-world problem of I don't have a budget for additional target marketing, so I have a challenge. And, I pointed out to him that he didn't have a challenge. And the reason he didn't have a challenge is when I went through a process with him of what I call my business development audit, marketing and business development audit, we found money in the budget that was duplicate spending and were programs that were underperforming. Right there, we found a couple of $100,000 for a pilot program. So it's an amazing opportunity. Companies are starting to pay attention. The consumer absolutely is empowered. And when you tell somebody, a group of people, that they have $87.3 billion in purchasing power, and the truth, Paul, is that they probably have more than that if the census data was, a little more accurate. But we have the best system that we have. We have to use it. But that number probably really is double, and that's pretty powerful.
I'm with you. And Andrea, you got it. Last question. What's good news for you?
Good news. I want to sort of leave you with this, and it's very exciting. I recently was reading about two concepts, and one is called futurology, and it's about postulating possible, probable, and preferable futures. The other is a term that was coined as a result of Malcolm Gladwell's work, Gladwellian outliers, and people that sort of are predicting the future, if you will, not following norms and still being successful. I think you put the two of those together, and that's really the future for Diversity Affluence. We wrote a book. We started the first book of its kind, the first business of its kind, and so really how we define ourselves is these sort of futurologists or outliers, and helping, the sort of the tricky art of predicting what's next. That's what's exciting for us, and we'll continue to do that.
Sounds great. Andrea, thanks so much for sharing good news with us.
Thank you, Paul, always for being supportive, and we keep looking out for you and all the good things that you do.
Appreciate it. Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.